Welcome to the John Cady Podcast. I'm John Cady, U.S. Navy retired and former minister. One of my favorite Southern rock bands as a teenager was none other than Lynyrd Skynyrd. Lynyrd Skynyrd had a string of hit albums during the mid-1970s, and they were riding high as far as becoming classic rock legends, evolving beyond Southern rock. But that momentum was tragically cut short due to a plane crash that killed lead vocalist Ronnie Van Zandt, band member Steve Gaines and his wife Cassie, along with other people in that plane. A total of 6 people were killed, 20 others were injured. The deaths of Van Zandt and Gaines left a lasting impact on Lynyrd Skynyrd. They never were able to regain the same momentum that they had prior to the crash. In this alternate timeline, thanks to Chat GPT, we're going to look at what would have happened if Lynyrd Skynyrd had avoided this accident altogether. In 1977, prior to the crash, That Smell was a popular album track, and What's Your Name was a top 20 Billboard Hot 100 single from their Street Survivors album, which was rapidly gaining momentum. In the alternate timeline, had they all survived and there was no plane crash, 1978 would have been a massive U.S. tour, briefly opening for the Rolling Stones, then becoming headliners in their own right. A double live album would come forth in 1979 titled Freebird Nation, capturing their live energy and solidifying their place among the greats. Ronnie Van Zandt's lyric focus would shift more toward social issues, evolving beyond the classic outlaw themes that people were accustomed to in Southern rock. Their 1979 studio album would have been called Southern Steel, produced by Tom Dowd. Singles from that album would include Steel Magnolia, Shotgun Train, Every Mother's Son. It would hit number 5 on the Billboard 200. In this synopsis, the sound would be more refined Southern rock with elements of hard rock and country soul harmonies. In the 1980s, with Steve Gaines' versatility, Skynyrd could have transitioned smoothly into the polished arena rock sound of the early 80s, rivaling that of 38 Special, which would have resulted in a friendly rivalry between Lynyrd Skynyrd and 38 Special, given that 38 Special's frontman was Donnie Van Zandt, Ronnie's brother. 1982 would give us Rebel Heart. Hit songs from it would be Keeping the Faith, Georgia Nights, and Hard Drinking Man. The videos would receive early MTV rotation, kind of like with George Thorogood and some of his albums, including Gear Jammer, I Drink Alone, and Bad to the Bone. New fans would be added to their fan base, and in 1984, Crossfire would be released. Their sound would evolve to a more bluesier ZZ Top influenced sound. ZZ Top in real time had a hit album with Eliminator in 1984. Synthesizers and more studio polish would be included, but the classic guitar riffs would remain as well. Crossfire, the title track, and Sweet Dixie Angel would be the hit singles. At this point, Skynyrd would be considered to likely avoid breaking up like so many 70s acts because they were a family band with a loyal Southern base, and touring would remain their lifeblood. 1987 to 1993. Legacy and maturity. Instead of a reunion tour, they would be continuously active, becoming something like America's answer to AC/DC. Now, that's not a bad compliment. That's an awesome compliment, given how many years they've been around. 1988, after a few years off, a new studio album drops, Second Wind. Ronnie Van Zandt's songwriting becomes more mature, starting to reflect on fame and getting older. A crossover country duet would be included with Hank Williams Jr. The album goes multi-platinum, cementing their elder statesman status. There are conflicting reports in Chat GPT as far as when they would be inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, Lynyrd Skynyrd actually had been around since the mid-1960s, and in this timeline, they could have been inducted in 1991 into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame or 2002, depending on which reference I read here. In real time, they were inducted in 2006. They would perform Freebird and Simple Man with the original lineup, living legends, not a nostalgic tribute. That would have been awesome to see. In the mid-90s to the 2000s, you would have the country rock crossovers and a revival, as country music goes Southern rock in the 90s, considering like Travis Tritt, Brooks and Dunn, Montgomery Gentry. Ronnie Van Zandt collaborates with Nashville artists, becoming a mentor figure. Southern Blood drops in 1995 with a rootsier sound similar to the Black Crowes. An interesting twist here produced by Rick Rubin. Hit songs from that album would be Magnolia Road, Still Burnin', and Freedom Ride. Skynyrd's influence directly shapes modern Southern rock bands. Blackberry Smoke, Drive-By Truckers, and Kid Rock all cite them as living mentors, not posthumous icons. What would Ronnie Van Zandt's role be in all this? In this alternate timeline, his lyrics would be maturing rapidly in 1977. Without the crash, he likely would have become a Southern Bruce Springsteen, writing about working-class life, pride, and disillusionment. If you look back to Sweet Home Alabama, there was a sharp criticism about Neil Young and his take on the state of Alabama. His leadership might have prevented internal conflict and lineup instability. By the 1990s, he'd be regarded as one of rock's greatest American songwriters, not just a symbol of tragedy. What about their legacy? The legacy in this timeline, Lynyrd Skynyrd remains the definitive Southern rock band. Bridging outlaw country, blues, and hard rock, they earn early induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Freebird still becomes a legend, but now as a celebration, not a memorial anthem. Their influence extends to Garth Brooks, Kid Rock, and even Chris Stapleton. All 6 original members would still be alive, closing the circle they never got to finish in real life. This also would have been no Rossington-Collins Band, no sputtering starts and stops with alternating band members over the years. It would have been a very interesting might have been. Lynyrd Skynyrd would have had a far greater legacy than the one that they left behind, and would certainly have been among the all-time greats in American music. This is John Cady. Thank you for listening. If you enjoy these podcasts, hit like, hit subscribe, and I'm looking forward to catching you on the next one.